Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into some pretty cool AI research.
Oh, yeah, this one's interesting.
It's all about a model called Longformer.
I see you've got the papers there.
Yeah, a whole stack of them. All about how this new approach is changing how AI understands, well, long documents,
Right, right.
like really long ones.
Yeah, exactly. For a while now, AI, especially those transformer models,
Powerful stuff.
yeah, super powerful. They've been amazing at understanding language,
hmm
but they've always kind of hit a wall when it came to those really long texts.
Like what kind of text are we talking?
Oh, think like legal contracts, those massive research papers,
Oh, okay.
even like really in-depth news
Well, it's
articles.
too much for them to handle.
Well, yeah, it's like their circuits get overloaded or something.
Like trying to fit a whole encyclopedia on a tiny little chip.
Huh. That's actually a great analogy.
Is it?
Yeah, it all comes down to this thing called the attention mechanism.
Attention mechanism.
It's basically how AI models focus on and connect different parts of the text.
Okay.
So with short texts, it's manageable.
But with longer.
With long documents, yeah, it becomes a nightmare.
How so?
Well, imagine trying to connect every word to every other word.
Oh, wow.
It takes forever.
Yeah.
Eats up tons of processing power, just not efficient.
So that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So where does Longformer come in?
Longformer.
What's its secret?
Well, Longformer's big breakthrough, you see, is a new way of handling that attention we were talking about.
Yeah.
It combines local attention with global attention.
Local and global.
Yeah. Imagine you're reading a book.
Okay, got you.
You're focused on the sentence in front of you, right?
Right.
But you also keep the overall plot in mind and the characters.
Oh.
That's basically what Longformer does.
So it's kind of like having a zoom lens and a wide-angle lens all at the same time.
Exactly. You got it.
I can focus on the details and see the big
Yes.
picture.
Yeah. That's clever, right?
That is really clever.
Standard attention, you see, was like trying to read that whole book with only the zoom lens.
You get lost.
Oh, totally lost. Bogged down in the details, missing the forest for the trees.
Yeah, for sure.
But Longformer's local attention, it uses a sliding window.
Sliding window.
Yeah, it focuses on smaller sections of text at a time, one after the other.
So that makes it more,
Way more efficient.
makes sense.
And then its global attention zooms out strategically.
To get the key parts.
Exactly. Provides that crucial context without getting stuck on every single word.
So it's not just reading word by word. It's
Yeah,
like
well-
it's understanding which parts need that closer look and which need the broader perspective.
You got it.
It's almost like it's learning to read like we do.
Right.
Pretty cool.
But how do you even test something like this?
Well, they started with a classic AI task,
Okay.
character-level language modeling.
What's that?
So the model has to predict the next character in a sequence.
Oh, okay.
But we're not talking short sentences here.
We're talking like entire Wikipedia articles.
Wow.
But on the character level, so predicting the next letter, not word.
That sounds incredibly difficult.
Oh, it is.
So did Longformer even stand a chance?
It did.
Really?
Aced it, actually.
Yeah.
Outperformed all the competition on those standard benchmarks like Text 8 and Inlay 8.
NWIC 8.
Yeah, those are the tests they use.
Oh.
Proved it could handle the long game of language modeling.
So it wasn't just keeping up.
No, it was setting a new pace.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
But I'm guessing character prediction is just the warm-up, right?
you're right.
What about the tasks that are more, relevant to us humans?
That's the next step, for sure.
Okay.
So to really see what Longformer could do, they took it further.
How so?
They pre-trained it on a massive data set of long documents.
Oh, wow.
Similar to how other models like BERT are trained, but focusing on texts way longer than what BERT could handle.
So they fed it a feast of long-form content.
Exactly.
A real
Fifth
feast.
one on the menu. Oh, all sorts. Books, news articles, scientific papers.
Really?
A real mix.
That's cool. So it was like a crash course in understanding.
Exactly. Understanding how humans write when they're really diving deep into a topic.
And all this pre-training, it wasn't just for fun, right?
Definitely not.
This actually made Longformer better at understanding those long documents
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
for real-world tasks,
It's crucial, that pre-training step.
like a boot camp.
Yeah. It learned to identify patterns, understand context, extract meaning from those long texts.
In a way that other models couldn't.
Exactly.
So it's going from reading basic sentences to analyzing, like, complex literature.
Perfect analogy. That's exactly it.
Okay, so they've built this amazing model, trained it on a mountain of information.
Yep.
And now it's ready to face the real world.
Right.
But how do they know if it actually works?
Well, it's a bit more controlled than just throwing any old document at it.
Okay.
They set up a series of tests, pitting Longformer against a worthy opponent.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Roberto.
Yeah, it's a top-performing model in its own right,
Okay.
but designed for shorter texts.
Ah, I see.
It was a classic showdown, really.
Longformer, the long-distance specialist.
Exactly. Versus Roberta, the short-range expert.
Ooh, a real clash of the titans.
You said it.
This is where it gets interesting.
For sure.
What were the battlegrounds?
Well, they chose tasks that would really push both models to their limits.
Okay.
Starting with question answering.
Like what kind of question answering?
They use datasets like WikiHop.
WikiHop.
Yeah. The questions there, they require understanding relationships between sentences across multiple paragraphs.
So not just finding keywords,
Oh, yeah.
but actually understanding the connections.
Exactly. Like across a whole document.
Why not?
They also threw in Trivia QA, which is more about finding specific facts.
Okay.
And Hotpot QA, notorious for its multi-hop questions.
Oh, die-hard.
Yeah, you have to connect information from different parts of the text.
That sounds like a real mental workout for these AI model.
Oh, it is. A real test.
But question answering is just one piece of the puzzle, right?
Right.
What other challenges did Longformer face?
Well, they also tested it on coreference resolution.
Coreference resolution.
Yeah, it's a fancy way of saying figuring out which words refer to the same entity.
Ooh, okay.
Like knowing that he, in one sentence, refers to, John mentioned earlier,
Right.
a task that's super hard for long documents.
Why is that?
Because you got to keep track of all those connections across a ton of text.
It's like remembering a character's name from the first chapter.
Yeah, when you're halfway through the book.
Easy for us, maybe, but not so much for AI.
Exactly. And finally, they tested Longformer on document classification,
Which is?
basically classifying documents based on their content.
Okay.
They used the IMDb movie review dataset.
Oh, the movie reviews.
Yeah, figuring out if a review is positive or negative.
Got it.
And the hyperpartisan news detection dataset.
Oh, that sounds tricky.
It is. Those are some long, complex news articles that need to be classified as either biased or not.
Okay, so they really put Longformer through the ringer with these challenges.
It did.
But I'm dying to know, how did it do?
Well, let's dive into those results.
Okay.
See how it stacked up against the reigning champ, Roberta?
This is where it gets really interesting.
Oh, for sure. You'll be surprised how differently they perform depending on the task.
Lead the way.
Okay, let's go. Okay, so remember WikiHop, where it's all about connecting those ideas across paragraphs.
Yeah, to answer the questions.
Right. That's where Longformer really left Roberta in the dust.
Oh, wow, really?
Oh, yeah. Consistently outperformed it, sometimes by a lot.
So it wasn't just finding the right keywords.
Nope, it was about actually getting those relationships between ideas.
Even when they were spread out.
Even across a whole document, yeah.
That's impressive.
It's like Longformer built this mental map of the whole text, you know?
And Roberta just couldn't keep up.
Couldn't see those connections, it seems.
Wow, so global attention for the win.
It really makes a difference, yeah.
Okay, what about the other question answering tests? Trivia QA and Hotpot QA, were those the same?
Good question. Those were interesting, too.
What happened?
Well, on Trivia QA, which is more about those specific facts,
Right.
both models were actually pretty close.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, neck and neck.
So Longformer didn't dominate there.
Not quite, no. And on Hotpot QA, with those multi-hop questions,
Yeah, those tricky ones.
Longformer still did better,
Oh, okay.
but it wasn't as big of a difference as on WikiHop.
So it sounds like Longformer isn't just good at those long-range connections.
You're getting it.
It's also got the chops for that more localized understanding.
Exactly. It's adaptable, you know?
Yeah, that's cool.
It can adjust depending on the task.
Like a Swiss Army knife of AI.
I like that.
And that adaptability showed up in those coreference resolution tests too, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Remind me, what was coreference resolution again?
Right, so it's all about figuring out which words in a text refer to the same thing.
Oh,
Even if it's not stated directly, you know?
like he in one sentence actually means John from way back.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I remember. And those long-range connections are key for that.
Oh, absolutely. Especially in those long news articles or technical documents.
Right. It's like remembering that character from the first chapter.
When you're halfway through the book, yeah.
Easy for us, maybe, but not so much for AI.
Yeah, it's a tough one for them.
So Longformer had an advantage there.
Oh, big time, especially on the longer texts.
Makes sense. It could keep track of all that.
Yep, Roberta struggled with that.
Okay, so it's proving its worth with those intricate connections within text.
Mm-hmm.
What about Document classification had to do with the movie reviews.
Ah, the movie
Yeah,
reviews.
those politically charged news articles, that was the other one, right?
Right, right.
Those sound tricky.
Oh, they are, even for humans sometimes.
Really.
Yeah, tons of nuance packed into those articles.
So how did Longformer do?
Well, on the movie reviews, which had a mix of short and long ones,
Okay.
Longformer, again, did better than Roberta.
Consistently.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow. So it could grasp the sentiment, the tone,
Yeah, even in those longer, more detailed reviews.
leading to better classifications.
Exactly.
What about the hyperpartisan news data set?
That one was fascinating.
Because of the bias.
Oh, yeah. It's really tough to classify those articles accurately.
Even for us?
Even for us, exactly. But Longformer stepped up.
It did?
Significantly better results than Roberta.
No way.
It sifted through all that information, identified the key arguments.
Wow. And figured out the level of bias.
Yep, accurately assessed it.
It's like it was reading between the lines.
I know, right?
Picking up on those subtle cues.
Those underlying messages that other models miss.
This is really groundbreaking.
It is. It shows the potential for AI to not just process information, but to really understand it.
On a deeper level.
Yeah, even with all the complexities of human language.
Okay, this has been amazing. So many wins for Longformer.
It's an impressive model, that's for sure.
But before we get too carried away,
Right.
are there any limitations?
Good point. There are always limitations.
Like what?
Well, for one, it can handle much longer texts than other models, but there's still a limit.
So there's still room for improvement.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
You know, if you fed it an entire encyclopedia, it might still struggle.
Okay, so not quite ready to take on the Library of Congress.
Ah, not yet, no.
What else?
Another thing is the computational cost.
Ah, right, all those calculations.
Yeah, it's expensive to train and deploy, especially with those really long documents.
Needs a lot of horsepower.
You said it. Specialized hardware, all that.
So not something you can run on your average laptop.
Probably not, no.
But even with those limitations, this is still a huge step forward.
Oh, absolutely. It opens up so many possibilities.
For what AI can do with language.
Exactly. It's exciting stuff.
This deep dive has given me so much to think about.
I know, right?
I remember reading that the researchers didn't just test Longformer against Roberta.
Oh, you mean the ablations?
Ablations.
Yeah, where they took Longformer apart, piece by piece.
Oh, right. To see how each part contributed.
Exactly. It's a classic technique.
And what did they find?
Well, it was really revealing, let me tell you.
Okay, I'm all ears. What did they discover under Longformer's hood?
Well, first they tried reducing the sequence length.
Sequence length.
Yeah, going from 4,096 tokens down to 512.
Like Roberta uses.
Exactly, like limiting Longformer's field of vision.
I bet that didn't go so well.
You guessed it. Performance took a hit.
It needs that wide field of view.
It does, yeah, to see those long-range connections.
Okay, what else did they try removing?
Well, they tried taking away the global attention completely.
So no more zooming out.
Exactly, just that sliding window, local attention.
Like reading a book a few sentences at a time.
Perfect analogy.
And never getting the whole story.
Right, and the results. Not great, especially on WikiHop.
Makes sense. That global attention is key.
It's like Longformer's superpower, yeah.
Did they mess with anything else?
Oh, yeah. They even tried removing those separate linear projections.
Linear projections?
Yeah.
What are those?
It's how Longformer processes global attention, a bit technical.
Okay, no need to get into the weeds.
So basically, they forced it to handle local and global information the same way.
Yeah.
Performance tanked.
So it needs those specialized tools.
It does. The right tool for the right job.
It's also carefully crafted.
It is. Very deliberate design.
Every part plays a role.
That's right. But they didn't stop there.
They didn't.
Nope. They wanted to see how important that pre-training was.
The one with all the long documents.
Exactly. So they trained a version without any masked language modeling pre-training.
So no boot camp for this one.
You got it.
And how did it do?
Well, it still did okay.
Okay.
But the pre-training clearly made a big difference.
Like night and day.
Pretty much, yeah.
It really needed all that exposure.
It did. To develop that deeper understanding.
They weren't just teaching it to read.
Nope.
They were teaching it to comprehend.
Exactly. To analyze, to really make sense of it all.
Amazing.
Those ablations were really insightful, you know?
Yeah, they confirmed the importance of Longformer's innovations.
And highlighted the importance of pre-training, too.
Wow, so much to learn from this.
There is. It's fascinating stuff.
I'm seeing one more thing here.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
It says something about Longformer-Encoder-Decoder.
Ah, yes, LED.
LED, what's that all about?
Well, it's a specialized version of Longformer.
Like Longformer 2.0.
You could say that.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
It's specifically designed for summarizing long documents.
Summarizing.
Think scientific papers, legal documents, things like that.
Oh, wow, that sounds super useful.
It is very practical.
But wait, we already know Longformer is great at understanding those documents.
Right.
So how's LED different?
Good question. It's all in the architecture.
Oh?
LED takes Longformer's attention mechanism.
And uses it in the encoder.
The encoder.
Yeah, the part that reads and processes the text.
Okay.
But it adds a separate decoder.
Which does what?
That's the part that generates the summary.
Ah.
That's like a tag team.
The encoder understands.
Exactly. And the decoder summarizes.
Without getting lost in the details.
Precisely. Makes it super efficient.
Especially for long documents.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Clever. So how did LED perform?
They tested it on the ArtSev summarization dataset.
Oh, you're Cardiff.
Yeah, it's a collection of scientific papers.
Known for being pretty dense.
You could say that.
So did it work? Could LED handle those scientific behemoths?
It did, even without any task-specific pre-training.
No way.
Achieved state-of-the-art results.
Wow, it summarized those long, complex papers.
Accurately and concisely, yeah.
This is incredible.
It is, right.
It's not just understanding them and summarizing them too.
Making that information way more accessible.
This has huge implications, right, for how we interact with information. Oh, absolutely. Huge implications.
We talked about how Longformer could change law, healthcare, research.
All those fields.
Now, with LED, we can quickly grasp the essence of complex documents.
Think about it. It could revolutionize education, journalism.
Even how we stay informed about the news.
Exactly. Imagine getting the gist of a scientific paper in minutes.
It'd be like having a personal AI assistant.
That's a great way to put it.
Doing all that heavy lifting for us.
Freeing up our time and energy.
It's mind-blowing.
It is. And this is just the beginning, you know?
It's just beginning.
This technology is still young.
Makes you wonder what the future holds.
It does. For AI and how it understands language.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
I know, right?
This deep dive has been a wild ride.
It has.
From the technical details to the potential to change everything.
It's amazing stuff.
But before we get too lost in the future, let's recap.
Good idea.
What are the key takeaways from this Longformer adventure?
All right, let's do it.
So we started this deep dive talking about how AI has been struggling with those super long documents.
Yeah, like trying to solve a puzzle with only a few pieces.
Exactly. Those traditional models, even the transformers.
They just got bogged down, couldn't see the whole picture.
Missing those crucial connections.
The ones that give a text its real meaning.
And that's where Longformer comes in.
Our hero.
Right. With that local and global attention.
Such a clever approach.
You can zoom in and zoom out all at the same time.
Handles those complex texts that used to stump AI.
Like, remember that legal contract example?
Oh, yeah. Longformer can understand each clause.
But also keep the whole agreement in mind.
Something other models just couldn't do.
And we saw it in action, right?
We did. Those tests were pretty convincing.
Longformer beating the competition, especially on those tasks that needed...
The long-range understanding, yeah.
Like question answering, co-reference resolution.
Really shows the power of this new attention mechanism.
It's a game changer.
It is a fundamental shift in how AI can handle language.
And then there's LED, its partner in crime.
A dynamic duo.
Right. Taking that efficient attention and using it to summarize.
Condensing those massive documents into something we can actually use.
Imagine getting the key points of a scientific paper in minutes.
It's a dream come true for anyone who deals with information overload.
Students, researchers, you name it.
It's about making information accessible, understandable.
This deep dive has really shown me the potential.
It's exciting, isn't it?
It's not just about making AI smarter.
It's about empowering people.
Giving them the tools to understand this complex world.
Exactly.
But we have to be careful, right? With any powerful technology.
Oh, absolutely.
We need to make sure these AI systems are developed responsibly.
Ethically, too. That's crucial.
Thinking about bias, transparency, fairness.
It's a conversation we need to have as a society.
Involving everyone, experts, policymakers, the public.
To make sure AI is used for good.
And Longformer will be a part of that conversation.
It will. It's pushing the boundaries.
Making us rethink how we interact with information.
It's shaping the future, in a way.
So, to our listener, as you explore the world of AI,
and you'll see it everywhere these days,
remember that behind those algorithms are models like Longformer, constantly learning and evolving,
Stay curious, stay informed.
and stay engaged in this important conversation.
Because the future of AI is intertwined with our own.
It's a future we all have a role in shaping.
That's right.
Until next time, keep diving deep.